What's wrong with you right now?
Sorry, something went wrong. Try again in a few seconds.
Very typical right now. If your Google Home or your Google Assistant enabled device is struggling right now and you're wondering what's going on, I have some opinions with some good research to give you here on what's going on and when we might see some of this let up. Now, what I'm telling you is there's a bit of a difference right now. I have never had the amount of issues that I'm having in my own home at this time, and there's really nothing that has changed here for me. Most of the people that I'm getting reports from, and I've been, soliciting some of these reports for the last couple of weeks, most of the reports are very similar. People haven't changed anything in their homes. They haven't changed anything on their Google Home or their Google Assistant, and suddenly functionality has stopped working. So what is going on? What are these issues? For myself, I've had my devices waking without any wake word or any sound in the home, not just ambient noise going on. There is literally no sound. I'm sitting and my devices are waking up. I've sent those reports to Google and they've started to look into them, and I'll let you guys know when I get something back from them. But they were very helpful at that point. I should always mention how helpful they've been with lots of these issues with me. I've also had multiple of my Google Home and my Google Assistant devices disconnecting and then needing a full reset or a full factory reset and a setup again in some cases where they're just stuck in an odd place and you can't get them set up. I've also had Google Chromecasts, and I have had some Google Chromecasts in my home working flawlessly for 3 years, suddenly dying, and I have multiple people who've contacted me for support with that very same issue with Google Chromecast that they've had for years, showing up or disappearing, rather, in their homes, just disappearing and being unable to be contacted and having to factory reset the devices as well. On top of that, what we're also seeing, and if you look at Reddit right now, you can see a lot of issues in the Google Home communities, and you can see this in Google's own communities. Lots of people are struggling with devices they've had connected for years again, or at least for a year, with a Google Home device. But Google Assistant, Home Control, those devices have been struggling in some cases. You're just not able to get exactly the device you want, or it can't find the devices anymore, or we had the needs more information issue show up here very recently, and just lots of home control and then simple query issues where Google just does not seem to be able to answer what it was capable of months ago. So let's talk about what's going on, or what I think is going on. So through lots of research, through again, different forums, different communities, and people who are relatively regarded as product experts within the Google Home suite of products or Google Assistant here are saying that the latest firmware push does have a number of issues in them. And what's being worked on in the background and as part of this firmware push is things like Google Duplex. So Google Duplex is what I think is our main issue. And actually one of our subscribers here, Dorothy is her name, and she's been here for a long time, and she always tells me how things are going with her Google Home products. And one of the things she said is that my Google Home is much better conversationally. The Google Assistant is so much better at reading things back and just in general in terms of conversation. And what I'm telling you is Google Duplex has been deployed, and not just on our devices, but also on the server side, on Google's side. Now, why do I say that? Well, if you're thinking about deployment, it's really hard to deploy Duplex on a few phones in a few select cities in one country and have it really be limited and have everyone else in the world using a different set of servers and a different set. It's just not going to work out. So what I'm telling you is the code for Duplex is out there, and that is messing with everything right now. Not only that, but I believe behind everything that Google is doing, part of Duplex and part of the coding going on and part of the AI implementation is to fix their routines. On top of that, we know the whole lists capability is being adjusted on the fly because we've seen a partial release of the ability to create different lists. But when you go and you do that, your assistant can no longer add things to your shopping list, for example. So that's another capability or function that we know is in the midst of deployment. We saw all the latest features from CES. The auto translation feature, we know that was capable on Pixel Buds a while ago, but now deploying it to all of these or attempting that development is going to take a lot of resources. On top of that, if you think about Google Assistant's deployment on Google Maps in both Android and iOS, the ability to actually utilize that and some new functions that are being placed into that are also going to be not only stretching development resources, but having to be tested at this point with your Google Assistant. The relatively new iOS and Android application layout, and we know that there's issues with that, but that's also taking away development resources, and we're seeing consistent upgrades and changes to that application to catch up right now with what's being asked for people. We know the drop-in capability, or what Amazon calls their drop-in capability, is being worked on as well. And so, you're seeing this massive change in capabilities, in functionality that really, what I'll tell you, is unprecedented in terms of any sort of software I've ever seen. You think back to Microsoft's deployments of things like service packs on their OS, and I liken this to that because we're talking about implementation of an AI on millions of devices out in the field, and in terms of the Google Assistant, billions of devices. Now, not everyone is getting all of that functionality, but what I'm telling you is all of that is coming to some people at some time, and it's relatively soon. I think we are months now away from a full deployment of Duplex in the US, and I would say we're under a month away from that deployment of Duplex. If not, latest, I think we're 2 months away from that full deployment in the US. And most of those capabilities that I've talked about here, and most of these changes that I've talked about, 3 to 4 months away. And so right now, all of that testing is going on because lots of that code has had to go live, and it has had to be tested by Google employees in a live system, in a live environment. So with all this said, with this massive deployment that's already gone on in the background as far as I'm concerned, and this massive deployment that I think is going to go on in the next couple of months, where does this leave us? Ultimately, it leaves us with our devices struggling right now. And you know what? I think we're going to have to live with it here for another month or two. I've already seen some issues even out, go away, and then I've seen other ones crop up. So I think this is going to go on for a little while longer. I don't think we're getting out of this anytime soon, but within a couple of months, I think you will have a massive increase in Google Assistant capabilities, including full deployment of Duplex in the US, and as well as lots of these other features all over the world. The other thing is that real-time translation and their focus on the international market. I do think you international folks outside of continental North America here, I do think you're about to get a massive increase in features as well in 2019, and I would say in the first half of 2019. So guys, this is what I can give you today. I hope this is helping you see a little bit of the light and also understand a little bit of what's going on with your Google Home products. So let me know in the comments below. I'm open to other suggestions because, again, This is research I've been doing here for the last few weeks. This is what I'm finding. And you know what? There's going to be things that other people are finding right now. And I am open to that. And I want to have an open, honest discussion about this right now. I'm not here to attack Google, and I'm not here to defend Google as well. I'm just giving you my opinion and trying to help you see what's coming. Now, guys, this is the kind of content and insight that I am giving my Patreon subscribers. So basically, Patreon, if you don't know what it is a subscription service that you can pledge different amounts on a monthly basis. It goes from $1 to $100, and at different levels, you get different benefits from us here at Automate Your Life. Now, what I'll tell you is it's stuff like this that I am giving those people who have already pledged, have already joined up on our Patreon page, and I'd love to have more people over there so I can continue to give better and better insight, service, and capability. Now, I've already had lots of those people provide me new questions for these smart home questions answered videos, and they're also getting insight into the industry and into what I'm doing as a creator here as well, the different resources and the different capabilities that I'm intending to give you as home automation folks. So there you have it, everyone. Make sure you check that out. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe here on Automate Your Life, because we're always giving the latest for your Google Home. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.